This is day 295 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. Today's Arukh HaShulchan OC is sponsored by John Abraham for the schus of the refuah shlema of his mother, Chana Fega Bas Yanta. May she have a speedy refuah shlema. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. Be greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Reish Dalet, Sif Chav Gimel, to Siman Reish Hey, Sif Aleph. B'da, Chav Gimel. B'da, the Baha, the Tanan, that which it says, the Iker Poter Esat Tafel, that the primary substance exempts the second subordinate substance from a bracha. Chalka Rambam Per Gimel Shnei Chalak. And Rambam divides this into two aspects. Tfela Mureves, Utfela Shem Mureves. Something subordinate which is mixed in, and something subordinate which is not mixed in. Meaning, you do things where one is primary, one is secondary, such as a herring and an onion. The herring is ikar by batzal tafel, and the onion is secondary. You make a bracha on the herring, put there tafel, and exempt the onion. This is where they're not mixed together. One is sitting on top of each other. The Zayis bar b'simra should base. Then this is being explained later on. With Femu Revis, where there's a primary and subordinate and it's mixed. Mikaya, that is shabisha machol. You cook the dish, you're able to talk on machol, and you mix into the dish dover. Achar something else. You see which is primary, which is secondary. This is what the Ram says. Case of Femu Revis. What is considered to be a mixed subordinate? Gigon lefes or kruv, such as turnip or cabbage, shabishlo, which you cook be'irebo kemach, and you mix it in flour, one of the 5 species of grain, in order to cause it to glue together. You don't make them burn mazonos in this case, because the turnip is primary, and the flour is subordinate. Anything which you mix in order that it should stay together, or to give it fragrance, or to color the dish, it is subordinate. But you mix it in order to give a taste in the mixture, it can consider ikar because it is an essential part and not playing an essential role and not a supporting role. Therefore, dvash, or some types of honey which you cook, and you put within them some sort of fat which comes from the wheat. I don't know exactly what it is. Okay, they dabek, in order to cling together. I guess from starch. I don't know. Chaylev doesn't sound like starch, but chalav chita. Whatever. So I guess when you squeeze the wheat, you get some sort of gluey substance. Simon meaning man meat the medika, and makes some sort of confection out of it. You don't make a burning because the honey is primary. The Mishnah Berurah says, where was this Mishnah Berurah? The Mishnah Berurah, it says Magen Avraham and other Chaim agree that, specifically by the Chamesh Samini Dagon, by species, we say that when it comes to give a taste, even if it's a minority, it's primary, as we shall see later in Reish Chesi base. But in other species, we go after the majority, which is why if you have at least commercially produced brownie, and the first ingredient is cocoa, or the second ingredient is flour, so then even though flour is less than the cocoa, nevertheless you make a mazonos because the 5 species of grain, where they are significant and they give a taste or a significant texture, so then the bracha becomes mazonos. It would seem the Rambam's words don't seem to be understandable. Surely when you're mixing stuff together, the stuff which is not made for a fragrance, for the smell, for the fragrance, nor to dye the food, nor to give taste. So Shabashim comes from Yachad. It's a recipe. you put several things together in the pot. You have to see which is primary, which is secondary. No common also can. But what he means to say is the follows: the bada yesh v'yesh. Certainly, there are different types of cooked dishes. That is the primary law of ikar b'tafel, which will be clarified with siman reshud base. I'm here in this case saying something else. Before I was speaking about the 5 species of grain. And as we just learned from the Mishnah Berurah, I'm not sure why he had to bring it down, because here's the Arukh HaShulchan. And any foodstuff from the which has one of the 5 types of grain, even they are minority negative relative to the rest of the food, you make them zonos on it. Because the 5 species of grain are primarily relative to other ingredients. Gemara says that anything which has from the 5 species of grain, you make a mazonos on it. Klomar, meaning the Misharish name, meaning Hochin Afilu, Misharish meaning Hochin Acharov, is mamish exactly what Mishnah Berurah said before. In other species, you go after the majority. But there's one of the 5 species of grain, even if it's a minority in the mixture. The other food is subordinate to it. And burning name is you make mazonos on the dish. So this goes around flour from one of the 5 species. Cooked it in a pot, whether by itself, when mixed with other things, and so to a cooked dish in which you mix some of the 5 species of grain, when it's flour, pas or bread, well, pas not literally bread, but you know, it's already baked. According to this, all the 5 species of grain are always primary. And other food is subordinate. And then until he comes after to explain to me, that's not always true. That's if they're coming for food. If they're coming just for glue, even the Chameshus can be considered to be tafel. It's a big machlokes by Twizzlers. Twizzlers have flour in them, but the flour is pashtus also the dabe. It's to hold the other parts together, which of course are whatever sugar and dye and flavoring in there. So some people say make a shako, some people say make a mazonos on Twizzlers, and I assume that they're both practices are widespread. I used to make a shako, and then I started making mazonos, and generally speaking, nowadays I don't eat Twizzlers, but I believe that the flour does give a certain type of consistency. It's not just ladabek, but if you do eat Twizzlers, and it's an interesting shaila. So that's he's saying. I say, when is this true? When the Rambam is saying when it was significant and not subordinate. But it's one of the 5 types of tefela, where you mix it in and it's truly subordinate. Only make a bracha on ikar. Brachas is germ principle by brachas chulei. Ketzu atfilim morevis, what is mixed subordinate. Levis or kruv, such as turnip or cabbage, shibishlo, which you cook to be a bokemach and put in it flour of the 5 types. Okay, davko in order to make the glue together. And in Mavarach, I love Brahmin and Mazana said, do not make a Brahmin of those chuli ad kanashon. That's the end of the quote from the Rambam. V'achei Prushnas means to say, Ketzad filim ureves chamish haminim, what is considered to be a subordinate which is mixed in by the chameshus haminim. That's what he is trying to explain. He's not talking at all about other subordinates. That's what he says afterwards. If you mix it in order to give a taste to the mixture, it's primary. Meaning, if your intent in the food, the 5 minutes is for the purpose of the taste of the food, it's primary, even when it's very little. That's what it says later on, therefore types of honey, and you put this fat of the fat or milk of the wheat. Today, diving in order for it to stick. Because the honey is primary. The low kai it's not. He's not giving a reason for what he said previously about ikar and tafel. Because before I was talking about where it is no sedam, it's where it's not no sedam. But rather it's going on what he said previously to the previous statement. So when they come in order to glue, they're not primary. Therefore, not just relative to other types of food. Which is a shahako, they are this grain flour becomes subordinate. That's what the Rambam means to say. Chavav. According to this, Rabbi saying about Shulchan Aruch Sheviu Divrei Rambam Elu B'Siman Zesiba Yubes. They brought down the Rambam Lekan Klau. Not relevant here at all. V'gam Heim Yadu Kavanos Rambam. They also knew what the Rambam meant. Shushesh Nakina Gam B'Dim B'Siman Zeh Kamoshi's but they're still not getting the Rambam's principle for halachas in this siman. L'chein Heviu Dvarav the Kitzur. Therefore, they brought his words in short. To the extent that they're relevant here. So, anything which mixed in order to glue, or l'reach, or for fragrance, or l'tzvah, or for dye, raised at the vela. If you mix it in order to give it taste, that's why types of honey, confections, etc. It doesn't mean that the entire Rambam. But rather to explain that which is said previously. The mine peros and mine hasavim, that types of fruit and types of grasses. Rukachim, which are made into confection with vash and honey, hadvashu tafel. He wants to say that the honey is tafel. Uzay v'diver Rambam. The Chametz meaning kasam Rambam. The Rambam wrote that nevertheless, if they're coming to dabek, to glue, ulareach, and to for fragrance, ulamara, and for appearance, einam ikarim, they're not considered to be ikar, but not vash ikar. In that case, the vash is primary. Koshke masavim. And it goes without saying that even if that's true about grain, it's certainly true about the grasses. Shemitakni mamare, nosim reach tov kayadua. I'm sorry. Yeah. They do these peripheral things. If that's what he has there, Savim, Hadvash Ikar Varashako, the honey is primary maker shackle. Chabzain, Rabbeinu Ramah Hosif Bezed Vorim, the Ramah adds stuff here. It seems the Arab Litain time with Harabah said if you mix in order to give a taste in the mixture, Shu Ikar, the Chamesh Meim becomes primary. It's only there's some substance of the thing. I know same time with Davar Chashuv because it gets the taste and it's significant. But if you put spices inside the confection, even though they're supposed to give a taste, they don't make a bracha on them. They're nullified in their small minority. Even though they are at least significant enough to give a taste. And that's the custom to only make a bracha on the confection and not on the psamim within them. Arukh HaShulchan explains the feed the Sharabein Habis Yosef. Since the Habis Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Rambam Chamesh Min Kan inferred from the law of the 5 minim to here. Like we wrote, piece according to this. Yeshli Tos, one can make a mistake. The dam was the garment of Chamesh Minim. So it's completely like the Chamesh Minim. The Mrak Yesh Mehem, I feel Dover more, even there's a small amount. You can also take time if he has a mind to give a taste. But you do make a mizonos. But the truth is, in other things, it's not that way. The Davka Chamesh Tamin Chashivi too, I think, and specifically by the 5 pieces of grain, it's like that. But other types of food, I think even if it's not in mind that this should give a taste, become a combina Davar Chashuv. Has to be something significant. The Ruba Loba, you don't need a majority. The cave on the Abila Taima, so it's made for taste. The Yeshkan Chashivas can be like a Ruba. have significance, an ingredient which is less than the majority, less than 50% of 51% of the dish. But it's got to be that it gives a significant taste and a significant contributor. Therefore, when you put in spices for taste, since they're so small, they have no intrinsic significance. They don't have the significance to change the bracha. Right, so brackets here. Rav disagrees, says you need a majority. But if you rhyme or riz, I'm trying to proof from rice. It's no parallel. By kom achal, no saying tovu beina rov. It's true that in most foodstuffs, you do require majority and you do require nisatam. But that here we're talking about a significant taste. Kibsamim, like basamim, but not basamim themselves, because they're butter. But a significant taste, like basamim, a significant ingredient, and that works even if it's not murov. הרבה יש, עכשיו יש הרבה בקנדידרסקה, I'm not sure what that is, but shemakshim peros, they make fruit hard in harbe zucker with much sugar, but zucker mechayes kol haperos, and the sugar covers all the fruits. It's nevertheless the brachas are eitz minei shem ikar ushem ikar, because the fruit is primary. V'chas rabbeinu b'seis yibgim kol davar shu mesubel b'brachas, anything when you're not sure of the bracha, you work shakosh make a shako kol shor. V'hem is this shor, there's no chiddush in that. V'hem shalach says, what else are you going to do? The kamakam is these bars there that we already know in several places. So why is it right here? You don't follow the majority of opinions, as in most halachas. Okay, misha halacha brulo levarech eitz or adama. It's not a matter of opinion whether it's a tree or a grass. You need to know, right? It's not. You have to have a definitive answer. Misha halacha brulo sheish l'deis, even as the halacha is not clear to him, but he has opinions. I feel there shahakol mu'uta miyadiyah shahitz. Well, even if the opinion of the person who says shahako seems less than the one who says shel eitz or shadama, nevertheless mevarchim shahako. We nevertheless make a shahako. Again, the deya, which is a vadai, or close to vadai, even its minority, is going to determine the bracha. She says if it's something which you can partner with a meal, always best to do. Reish Hey, Dini Berchus Yerakos. Aleph, Shorach HaChamim by Mishnah. Chachamim said in Mishnah, Yerakos and vegetables omer borei pri adama. Rabbi Yehuda says borei minei deshoim, creates types of grasses. Pas Gemara, they look. Rabbi Yehuda Gemara says we don't have such a bracha like borei minei deshoim. I forgot the time that Rabbi Yehuda before Shba Gemara, even though Rabbi Yehuda has a good svara, as it says in the Gemara, we should see Baruch Hashem yom yom. Blesses God day by day. Kumar mean the b'chol yom b'yom titin l'mein brachos. Every day give him something like his brachos, and means that this here. No, Shabbos mean Shabbos is Shabbos. Brachos specify Shabbos b'yontiv, which remain yontiv specify yontiv. V'achinami here too b'chol mina each should be species tailor made brachos. Give a bracha which is appropriate for that species. Chaygav aplika Rabbi Yehuda in Sukkah. They have a similar machlokes in Sukkah. The mehayu for mitzvahs harbe. If you have a lot of mitzvahs to do, you can bundle. Rabbi Yehuda's Baruch called mitzvah b'nei atzma. You have to make a bracha on each mitzvah itself. Al tzitzis b'nei atzma, and tzitzis by itself. Al tefillin b'nei atzma, and tefillin by itself. V'tami Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda's logic according to this is sham. Gam came behind krad b'chol mitzvah teil b'remein b'choisam. On each and every mitzvah, you should give something similar to the appropriate narrow bracha. Uv'sham kaimon Rabbi Yehuda. Right there, we do hold like Rabbi Yehuda that you're supposed to be specific about the mitzvah, which goes around pegging out me brachos. So why here do we not say the same thing? And he says, "V'amar echad me'agdolim b'dor shel v'neinu hirish me'olam kushazu." he made a tremendous turmoil in the world over this question. If we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda in terms of Birchos and Mitzvahs, why don't we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda in terms of being more definitive and specific when it comes to Birchos and Tune in to the next session for the answer.